Let's go straight across to our first newsmaker tonight. Omar Abdullah is joining us, Vice President of the Jammu and Kashmir National Conference, former Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir. Appreciate your joining us, Mr. Abdullah. How do you see these results? Do they only widen the divide between Jammu and the Kashmir Valley? Or do you believe that this is actually a vindication of your stand against Article 370 because you've done so well in the Kashmir Valley?
Well, your question has two parts and I'll answer both parts. One, no, it doesn't widen the gap between Jammu and Kashmir because your basic premise is flawed. Jammu has not voted en masse for the BJP as your reporter in Jammu, Mr. Sunil Bhatt, seems to want to convince everybody. Out of 20 districts in Jammu and Kashmir, only 5 districts have shown a margin or a majority for the BJP. 13 districts have gone to the People's Alliance for the Gupkar Declaration, and 2 districts are still up for grabs. So I don't see how your correspondent in Jammu can claim, or even for that matter the BJP can claim, that this is some resounding victory in Jammu for the BJP, and we have only managed to open our account in the valley. I made this point on a tweet not so long ago, that I can understand this euphoria over the 3 BJP seats in the valley. But one second, let me finish. You're overlooking the fact that the People's Alliance has either won or is leading in 35 segments in Jammu province, 35 segments in Jammu province versus the 3 segments of the BJP in the valley. So your basic premise about the gap between Jammu and Kashmir widening is not correct.
The fact is that the BJP is at the moment leading in about 70 seats in the Jammu region. They've only won 3 in the valley. The point I am making is that in Jammu they are the number 1 party, while you are by far the number 1 party in the Kashmir Valley. I'm just trying to understand, therefore, and we've seen this in recent elections as well, when assembly elections have been held, this widening gap between what Jammu wants and what Srinagar wants. Has this election bridged that divide or widened it?
No, but Rajdeep, but then look at, I understand the BJP has taken 70 in Jammu and only 3 in the valley.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Now I can understand your premise about a widening gap if we had swept the valley and only taken 3 in Jammu. But we've taken 35 in Jammu, or are in the process of taking 35 in Jammu, compared to the BJP's 3 in Kashmir. So it clearly shows that we have far wider acceptability in Jammu than the BJP has in the valley. So where is the divide? We in fact have been able to straddle the divide between Jammu and Kashmir with our agenda, which the BJP has been unable to do. We have been able to open up leads in 35 segments or win 35 segments in Jammu, and the BJP has only been able to take 3 in the valley.
Are you therefore saying,
are you therefore a lot of credit for actually narrowing the divide? Okay, and as I pointed out right in the beginning.
Go ahead.
What?
Let me ask the main question, which which is the central issue. Therefore, if you say you have wider acceptability, does that mean that you believe this mandate is of the people who do not want Article 370, who did not want Article 370 to be in any way abrogated, or Jammu and Kashmir to be reduced from a full-fledged state to a union territory? Do you believe this is in a sense a vindication of what stand you have been taking?
Yes, not just in a sense, it is a vindication. It is a vindication. And it's the BJP that made this the issue. We didn't even come out and campaign. It's the BJP that made this all about an endorsement of their 5th August 2019 decision. They are the ones who hyped up this election. They sent union ministers, they sent senior leaders, they pumped in tons of money. They flooded the airwaves with advertisements on television, on the radio and elsewhere, and finally were only able to win 4 or 5 districts in Jammu and were resoundingly defeated even in the valley. So it's the BJP that hyped the stakes in this election, and yes, gave us an opportunity to say that our mandate, that our agenda has been given a stamp of approval by the majority of the people of Jammu and Kashmir. We never claimed to have the support of 100% of the population. But in a first past the post parliamentary democracy, you talk from a position of majority. Prime Minister Modi doesn't win 100% of the votes to become Prime Minister. In fact, if anything, he doesn't get more than 35 or 38% of the country's votes. But he claims a mandate for the entire country. We have far more than that percentage of votes and therefore can quite proudly claim to have a mandate for the entire country.
You know, I want to ask you
Sorry,
this,
for
though,
the entire state
while,
of Jammu and Kashmir.
that while you say that the BJP made Article 370 part of its core issue in this election, you on the other hand formed an alliance, a people's alliance for the Gupkar declaration. So you also in a way made the abrogation and what happened in August 2019 part of your core issue. In fact, adversaries in the valley came together, you, Mehbooba Mufti, Sajjad Lone, to that extent.
It is our only issue.
Yes.
Rajdeep, it's not our core, it's not part of our core issue. It is our issue. It is our only issue. When our name says the People's Alliance for the Gupkar Declaration,
yes,
and the Gupkar Declaration is centered around 5th August 2019, we make no bones about the fact that that is our fight. We have always maintained that we will use peaceful, democratic, legal means to fight for what was illegally snatched from the people of Jammu and Kashmir. We don't pussyfoot around our agenda. We are very clear about where we stand.
I want to ask you though, if you believe therefore that this is a vindication of your stand on Article 370, do you believe that the next logical step therefore should be that the government should relook at it? Or is it that you would wait till there is a full-fledged election, a state election, in an assembly election in Jammu and Kashmir before you can lay claim to that? Do you believe at least that this election now lays the groundwork for a potential full-fledged election for an assembly in Jammu and Kashmir?
Unfortunately, this result has pushed our assembly elections even further away. With the kind of really disastrous results that the BJP has had, there is no way they are going to have an assembly election anytime in the near future. And therefore, our fight will have to continue outside of the assembly of Jammu and Kashmir. In an ideal world, we would have already had assembly elections, or at least assembly elections on the immediate horizon. But I don't foresee an assembly election anytime soon, perhaps not for the next few years. And therefore, our fight will necessarily have to continue in the court of public opinion and in the court of law.
You know, it's very interesting that you're saying that, Omar Abdullah, that your fight on Article 370 will then carry out outside the electoral process, because before the elections, a number of leaders from the Kashmir Valley were claiming that the entire election was being rigged, there was no level playing field, that y'all were being, that the enforcement agencies were being used against y'all. And yet, at the end of the day, will you at least concede that democracy has won? Now that you have won, or as you claim you've done so well in both regions, that maybe Indian democracy is actually still thriving, and many of those allegations that the elections would be rigged or subverted.
Rajdeep, one result doesn't sort of wipe out all the wrongs that were done. The fact that we were able to withstand all these attacks against us doesn't mean that our allegations were not true. It is a fact that our candidates were locked up in hotels and guest houses and were being denied the opportunity to campaign. It is a fact that most of my people went out to campaign without any semblance of security. It is a fact that central agencies turned their attentions towards Jammu and Kashmir and particularly towards leaders of the People's Alliance during this election process. All of these are facts, but it is also a fact that the voters of Jammu and Kashmir were able to rise above all of these challenges. The candidates of the People's Alliance were able to rise above all these challenges and deliver the results that are in front of you.
So you won't give any credit to the Modi government for conducting a free and fair poll, an issue which has always generated controversy in the Kashmir Valley. Will you concede that maybe the Modi government gave you a free and fair poll? Or gave us a free and fair poll?
The Modi government doesn't need my certificate. If the Modi government needed my certificate, things in Jammu and Kashmir would have been very different. The fact of the matter is there was no level playing field. We produced the results that we did in spite of the challenges that we faced. There was no level playing field.
Okay, so let me ask you in conclusion, what will you tell the BJP leaders who in the past, including Home Minister Amit Shah, who have suggested your alliance is anti-national, called you the Gupkar gang for the People's Alliance? What will you tell them? Do you believe? What next is what I really want to know. What happens next? Does the valley come, does Jammu and Kashmir come back to some semblance of democratic normalcy?
Rajdeep, the voice of the people is the voice of God. If the BJP truly believes in democracy, then they will respect the verdict of the people of Jammu and Kashmir.
And that verdict, you believe, is for reversing what the decisions of August 2019, restoring statehood. Am I correct?
That verdict is to understand that the decision of 5th August 2019 is not acceptable to an overwhelming majority of the people of Jammu and Kashmir. And if you had had these elections in Kargil and Leh, you would have got a majority of people voting against 5th August 2019 from Leh and Kargil as well.
Okay. Omar Abdullah, plain speaking, as always, appreciate your joining us. As I said, your months in detention only seem to have increased the fire in you. So you're speaking as you see it. I appreciate your joining us and telling us where you stand. Thank you very much. Omar Abdullah.